You know, it's almost like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. But one of the things I'm really looking forward to is how it actually will look and how will the overall experience be. Because that is always the mix, or basically the gamble with these devices. Oh man, so first of all, when you're looking at the bezel already, oh, this thing is absolutely huge. Let's give you a different look, and that is always a little bit of a bummer by opinion. And another thing you see a lot with these devices that we're having a very cheap front glass or very thin material at least. Alright, so let's remove this piece of plastic, and when pressing it you can maybe see it in the camera. It's bending fairly easy. So need to be very careful with that because it's going to be absolutely scratch sensitive. The form factor. I must say that I was quite surprised seeing this at first on the picture. The product parameters. A 3.5-inch display with a resolution by 640 by 480 and then has an IPS. So that's kind of cool. So it's going to be absolutely a fantastic experience. The rock chip is the 3326 running on 1.4 GHz with a Mali G31 MP2. This configuration, we have seen it in Android boxes. The RAM is only 1 gigabyte. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Is this? Oh, yeah, that's really confusing. I'm guessing there's 1 gigabyte of RAM and 8 gigabyte of memory. Then we're having open source Linux system. I'm guessing Emulation or something like that. And then we're having a dual 3D stereo rocker. Yeah, rock your world. The D-pad is finally on the right place, especially when you play some old school games. And how it feels, I can tell you, it's absolutely not bad at all. Where it has a slight angle to it, the travel, it's quite long, but not to a point that it's going to be annoying. And also in combination, when you're just moving around, it feels nice. It doesn't have the cheap click to it, and the resistance, it's okay. I would love to see it a little bit, must say, more like or less of a travel and less of a resistance, but I'm very curious about this, how it actually plays. It's kind of cool that they implemented 2 joystick at the bottom, and in my opinion, this is one of the best configurations. The joysticks have a very nice feature with some LEDs around them. When you're just going to be pressing them, they will light up. That's kind of cool. I love it. And what is even more of a surprise, the A, B, X, Y are just huge buttons. And the touch itself is also very pleasant. They have an absolutely great travel. They have a little bit of a wiggle to it, not a bad thing. And it has like a very nice round shape on top, so that makes it very comfortable to play. First off, let's try some MAME. Where I'm not going to be surprised that it actually runs great. And that's because these rock chip devices can be used without any problem, which does old school stuff. The D-pad, I'm quite surprised. It works very well. Let's move to the analog stick. Next up, let's some 8-bit. This is a game that I've played so much as a child. It's so much fun. And how many different Bombermans we're having nowadays is absolutely crazy. And I can't get enough of Bomberman. Okay, move on to the Super NES. Okay, I lowered the audio because it's maybe easier with recording, but let's crank it all the way up. The downside is, if you want to have a different resolution with some emulators, there is no way of getting into the filter options and etc. Of course, with a resolution of 640 by 480, it's not going to be a big deal in my opinion. But still, if you want to have different filters, there is no way getting into the option itself. Nope, there's nothing of a combination. The only thing that works is pressing escape. And that's the thing which you're going to see with this particular piece of software. But when it comes to N64, these devices are not great at all in my opinion. Yep, they will run a couple of games. But you can already see from the intro, it's going to be absolutely a mixed overall shenanigans. I'm not getting even into the freaking game, it's already stuttering like crazy. So with N64 we're not there yet. It's interesting to see that we're having budget devices now within 64, where back in the day we had quite expensive devices that only had the option to run it, but that's cool. Let's get into the gameplay. And take note, if you're going to get more demand game, F-Zero, GoldenEye, those games will not run at all. We're having like 5 FPS per second. Getting into the game, we have a slightly overall better performance. In my opinion, still playable. But there is nothing we can do when it comes to also configuration over here. Next up, let's get into the Mega Drive part. But that sounds kind of messed up in my opinion. Let's move on into the gameplay. And let's see if we're going to have better performance there. Yeah. Well, I do have the feeling that they are running on Handheld game system. The lights, so we're going to get a little bit better visual. I must say that I find really annoyed by the back bleeding over here. In my opinion, there is always something that you just need to mess up, and even as a quality issue, it's such a bummer, because when it comes to the overall performance of the system, I'm quite surprised. I'm getting my ass kicked by me now. What's going on here? Oh. And they love to add PlayStation Portable to these devices. And there's also no option, so far I can see, getting into the PPSSP emulator. So far so good. It does look slightly different than your normal PlayStation Portable, because the resolution and the screen size is not the same. That's the reason why we're going to get black bars on top and bottom. But I can tell you, this product like this is not 100% compatible with PlayStation Portable, where we do got some good performance with Tekken 5. I'm having a day of getting my ass kicked. That's one thing to be sure. So what is interesting with the Game Boy, they implemented a filter. I can just see it is less pixelated, and I must say that is not a bad thing. That looks kind of nice, but that is something, of course, personal. And also the same with Crash Bandicoot and GBA, we're having the same blurry art filter over it. I think it's not really necessary when it comes to Game Boy Advance, because those games look absolutely amazing on a tiny display like this. Can we crank it up the volume? It takes quite a long time to actually boot up, but it will not boot up in your typical Emulation software. No, not at all. But it looks similar. In the main menu, here we find all kinds of different emulators. Sony PlayStation 4 and the 64. I will mainly focus on, like I said, the high-end system, just to see how it actually runs. But I can tell you, the old school stuff runs just fine on the device like this with the rock chip. But the overall menu, this is made for people who don't want to tinker and mess around with all kinds of settings. For example, pressing start, here we're having the language, battery 95%, volume control. You can also change the volume here, of course, at the side, and it showcases how it will look, because in the backend it runs on Android. Brightness can be adjusted over here, and I can tell you it is really bright. And then we're having the date, key settings. Oh crap, oh, I completely messed that part up. Let's go back again. What I wanted to say is key settings, and here you can basically check it all out. And what's kind of cool, you can just see it now, that the light up feature of the both joysticks will light up actually when you're using them. That's kind of cool. But you can check all of the buttons if you want to. It's got this very annoying tune to it. Another thing I do notice, and that is kind of cool to mention, so when you're checking out the back buttons, they are all micro switched. And micro switch is not a bad thing, don't get me wrong. But the way how they implemented the buttons, you can see it when trying to record it. There is a slightly different angle, and that is convenient. So if you're going to be holding it, Oh, don't get me wrong, I still hate it because it's quite difficult. So the R2 and the L2 are very, let's say, easy to touch, trying to navigate to. But if you want to press the L and the R, because it's basically on the middle part of your finger, you want to make this movement. It is possible, but you need to force your hands in certain ways. Plus Edition, it's kind of interesting piece of tech if you may ask me. Runs on Android, has a very nice interface, has a lot of games that we can actually play with it with this rock chip, but when you're looking at the competition, there are way better options out there. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, let me know what you think of the D-007, and it would be great to see you in the next video.